Hello and welcome back to Event 9 of the 10 event 40 race 2019 Formula F4 Southeast Asia Championship, fueled of course by Petron. We're about to get into race 35 of the season, but before then, a quick walk down the pit lane. On pole position we have Omar Azwat, followed by Sneha Sharma, Luke Thompson, Amir Harris, Frederico Peters, Muiz Mushaffer, Elias Tapanin, Luca Allen. Unfortunately, it seems as though Omar had a little bit of trouble getting off the start of the formation lap, but we can see he's obviously managed to get going. Maybe just stalled the engine, and hopefully he will be allowed to retake his position. I'm not sure on the regulations on that, but it does seem like the marshals are allowing him to come down, and car number 42 has left him a slot at the front, but no, he's going to duck in at the back of the grid. You can see the safety car in position now as well. We may have a slight delay here, ladies and gentlemen, because it looks like Omar's slightly out of position, but the green flag marshal is going nonetheless. He's reached the left-hand side of the track. I don't see the red lights. Oh, there we go. The red lights are on. As they extinguish, we'll be underway, and here we go once again for race 35 of the season. Sneha Sharma seems to get away very well, while Amir Harris comes right across over, really pushes Frederico Peters in orange number 57 out to the outside, and Muiz Mushaffer got a good start. He's going to come 3 wide down into turn 1 with Amir Harris and Frederico Peters, while Sneha Sharma going to try and make something happen on Luke Thompson. Can she defend from Frederico Peters, who has the better inside line? Looks like she closed a little bit of the door on Fred there, and looks like Muiz Mushaffer going to go up the inside of the Portuguese rookie at this corner, while Elias Tapanin manages to battle with Luke Allen, the two drivers trying to catch up to the front of the grid. Of course, this is a reverse grid, as always, is the second and third grid, so this makes things very interesting indeed. As you can see, Luke Allen just behind Elias Tapanin, then that's the blue number 3 just behind the red number 58, while Fred Peters seems to be doing battle with Muiz Mushaffer, and it looks like 2 cars up the inside of Peters at turn 4, while Muiz Mushaffer goes around the outside. Fantastic action there, ladies and gentlemen. Muiz pushed wide all the way around, while Amir Harris tries to take advantage of the situation. Fred had to back off a little bit there. Strategic driving from the young Portuguese athlete to make sure no one came to contact, which meant he managed to continue his race, but unfortunately for him, that means there's now 2 Malaysians in front of him in the battle for P4. As we can see though, Sneha Sharma though, still at the front of the grid, doing well for herself, maintaining second position, while Luke Thompson up into first. Elias Tapanin though up the inside at turn 9, under braking, takes it away from her. And Luke Allen looks like he's going to try and go all the way around the outside, but not quite enough space, so he has to foul back in behind the purple number 9. The procession now going up through turn 10. They're going to crest at the top of turn 11 and start the downhill section of the track into turn 14. Luke Allen still behind the purple number 9. He's going to try side by side through turn 12. Luca, maybe not go for this, mate. It's a little bit dangerous, but he's going for it anyway. Turn 12. Let's have a look back to the left-hand side of your screen. What's going to happen? Luke Allen forced wide at turn 12. Let's keep on this action because Amir Harris now has his car in the mix as well. Going up the inside at turn 14. Looks like Muiz Mushaffer locked up gigantically coming into 14 as well. And now the order is rolled reverse, ladies and gentlemen. And Muiz Mushaffer up in front of Luke Allen, and Luke Allen just barely managing to hold on in front of Amir Harris in the blue number 19, and Frederico Peters taking advantage as well. He's already passed Amir Harris, and he's going to go up the inside of Sneha Sharma. Just Sneha see him. He looks like he's locking up massively on the inside, the front left, under braking. I think I saw him turning just a little bit there, trying to get around Sneha Sharma. It worked out for him in the end, but he's definitely scrubbed some time. You can see Amir Harris seems to have gotten a much better exit, but the Malaysian driver tucks back in behind the purple number 9, while Luke Allen and Muiz Mushaffer go wheel to wheel coming down into turn 1. Sneha having a look up the inside of Fred now at turn 1. Is she close enough to make something happen? Not quite, and she locks up again. We had a word with her engineers what was going wrong for her in the last session when she seemed to be locking up at turn 1, and basically the story is that she seems to be turning a little bit while braking, and these Formula 4 cars, of course, and any Formula car, you don't have any driver aid, so it's all about the driver, so you can't do anything. You got to brake in a straight line, you got to shift, and then you got to turn in, and you got to keep everything going perfectly. But this battle between Muiz Mushaffer and Luke Allen is working in the favor of Elias Tapanin, who is now edging out a nice little lead for himself. Almost 2 seconds at the beginning of this lap. You can see it quite extensive indeed. As we come through turn 5 now, down into turn 6 in just a moment, and Frederico Peters in P4, if I'm not mistaken, just behind, or P5, just behind Muiz Mushaffer. Luke Allen managing to get past the pink number 13 car of his Malaysian rival, coming down into turn 7 and 8 now. Basically one gigantic corner here, 7 and 8, very fantastic to watch, as it looks like Sneha Sharma goes quite wide on the exit of number 8. Amir Harris might be able to take advantage, come up the inside of turn 9, while Frederico Peters follows Muiz Mushaffer. through the corner as well. Looks like Amir had to back off a little bit, but he got a better exit. He's going to go around the outside of turn 10 now and claim that position for Malaysia as we come down through turn 11 in just a moment on the right-hand side of your screen. Sneha Sharma not going to give up though. She's trying to get right in there behind him, but she did have a big lock up on her front tire again, and that's of course going to be hurting her. Muiz Mushaffir though, still in P4 if I'm not mistaken, ahead of Frederico Peters. Looks like he's locking up coming into turn 14 as well. He seemed to do that last time around, and that's not what you want to do in these cars. You can't keep locking up the tires, or they're just going to flat spot them and the cars are going to become undrivable. But Luke Allen now has a bit of fresh air, and he's going to have to close in to the man in front of him, Elias Sapanen, while Luke Thompson at the front of the grid, the red number 42. Fantastic race for him so far. Hopefully he can hold on to things, but Elias Sapanen definitely going faster in the first two sectors, while it looks like Luke Allen faster in the third sector. Coming across the start-finish line now, let's have a look at the times and check in on where everybody is. We've got Luke Thompson at the front of the grid. As we know, the gap between himself and Elias Sapanen 1.175 seconds. Elias faster in all four sectors, I should say. So the Finn definitely closing in on the Irishman at the front of the pack. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very different Irishman. Indeed, it's Luke Thompson, the red number 42 car, coming across turn 2 on your screens at the moment. You can see the second red car. That's Elias Sapanen, the red number 58. Just behind them, another Irishman, the blue number 3 of Luke Allen. Of course, Luca and Elias fighting for championship position. Luca, the more favorite driver this weekend because he's already obviously won 2 races. But Elias Sapanen definitely in a better position at the moment, and he's closing into the man in front of him, Luke Thompson, at an alarming pace, and Luke's going to have to be defending very soon indeed. Further down the order, we have Muiz Mushaffir and Frederico Peters battling for 4th position. Fred doing a 2:17.432 and Muiz doing a 2:17.554 last time around. The two drivers quite equally matched, as you can see. Let's have a look at the sector times, a 29.381 and 29.483. So about a tenth of a second between the drivers in the first sector. Maybe Fred can pick up a bit of time in the second sector, not quite. Seems maybe he's backing off a back. Maybe this is a back off lap, let everything cool down. He's going to push again next time around. Or maybe he's just a little bit too far back now to gain that slipstream advantage, or even indeed too close, and he's getting some aero downwash in the high speed corners. But now we're looking at the blue number 3 car of Luke Allen. This is the man who's got everything to do this weekend. Elias Sapanen won 3 out of 4 races in the last event at event 8 in the 10 event 40 race for F4 Southeast Asia Championship. So Luke has really got to do everything he can this weekend to make sure he wins the championship overall, and I'm sure Elias Sapanen is aware of that as well. That's why he's got to be a very happy young driver indeed, because he's up in second position. He's closing in on Luke Thompson. Although interestingly, Luke fastest in the second sector by 0.2 of a second. So good drive there from the red number 42. As you can see on screen, the battle still for P4. This is Muiz Mushaffir and Frederico Peters. Frederico really had an advantage on the Malaysian rocket last time around. Seemed to definitely have more pace and was closing in at the end of the race. Maybe with 1 or 2 more laps, he may have made something happen. We had a word with the drivers about that in the post-race press conference, but everybody a bit too friendly off track, it seems, to make a comment, as Muiz Mushaffir now takes us across the start-finish line again, just ahead of Frederico Peters, and Amir Harris really holding in there as well, trying to get his foot in the door and make something happen. Amir and Muiz and Fred lapping almost identically within 9 thousandths of a second. Coming through turn 1 now, though, you can see the gap between Luke Allen and Elias Sapanen has definitely closed down. Something must have gone wrong for Elias Sapanen, maybe a little bit on the braking on the exit of turn 15 perhaps, but I'm not quite sure about that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the answer is simple. Luke Allen set a 2:15.216 last time around, a blistering lap from the Irishman. As we come around turn 4 now, Elias Sapanen having to defend from the sizzling Irishman, the blue number 3 on the right-hand side of your screen. Hopefully the Finn can keep that blue car exactly where he wants it in his rear-view mirrors and try to catch up to the man at the front of the pack, Luke Thompson, who's currently lapping in the 2:15s, 2:15.905. As we come around turn 6 now, we have Elias Sapanen still defending from the blue number 3 car, but you can see the gap between the two very close indeed. This is actually a reverse of what happened in the last race, or the last 2 races I should say, where Elias was P2 and Luca was P1. Luca just not quite close enough to make Elias not quite close enough to make something happen. Can Luca turn the tables though? Looks like he's going to try around the outside at turn 9, maybe switch back and get the outside line at turn 10 as well. Not quite a good enough exit from turn 10, but it's going to set him up on a wider line. Maybe he can cut up the inside at turn 11. We've seen it happen before, but Luca just a little bit too far back. And Elias going a little bit wide on the exit of turn 11. Luca following right in his wake. The two cars now going through 12 and 13. This is about 180 kilometers an hour before they break in just a few seconds for turn 14. Big lock up there from Elias Sapanen. He had mentioned something about some understeer to his engineers, if I'm not mistaken. and it may be related to a lockup like that, causing him some problems. As we come down the back straight now, you can see Luke Allen right up behind the Finnish driver, looking for everything he can to make something happen. He's got the inside line now at 10:15, but this is an off-camera's corner, so anything could happen. Elias going to try and switch back up to the inside, get the better exit, and come alongside down turn 1. Can he make something happen here? But it looks like Luke has got that position. I think it was the lockup from Elias at turn 14. It really seemed to hurt him there. As we come down the back to the main straight now, indeed, you can see the gap between Moise Mshaffer and Elias Panin. Moise Mshaffer and Frederico Peters seems to be shocking as well. As Elias Panin has a look around the outside of turn 1, decides against it and slots in behind Luke Allen down through turn 2. Hopefully the Finnish driver going to catch back up to the man in second position. And this is all good news, ladies and gentlemen, for Luke Thompson, who's currently doing a 2:16 dead in first position. As we have the rest of the grid, of course, battling as well. Further down the order, Moise Mshaffer and Frederico Peters. Let's have a look at the gap there. The gap between Moise and Fred, 0.5 of a second, 0.5 of a second. So Fred is right in there with the Malaysian driver. The battle, of course, for fourth position. We'll see very soon if Fred can make something happen, because he's only got another 5 laps or so to go. As we come around turn 5 and 6 now, with the 2 drivers I'm talking about on screen. Of course, this is Fred Peters in the orange number 57 car, just behind the pink number 13 of the Malaysian rocket, Moise Mshaffer. Fred in a little bit of a disadvantaged situation because he's sandwiched between 2 Malaysians of Moise Mshaffer and Amir Harris, although Amir a little bit too far back to challenge Fred at the moment. But it has to be noted, he's definitely keeping his hat in the wing, his foot in the door, I should say. He's lapping actually a 1/10 of a second faster than Fred last time around. As we come through turn 9, though, you got to keep in mind Moise Mshaffer, of course, being forced to drive defensively to keep Fred behind him, and Fred naturally being held up in that manner. And that's going to give Amir the advantage. He needs to try and close in on this battle for fourth position, hopefully reverse the rookie standings, because at the moment, if he finishes as we drive, Elias Panin going to be the overall rookie, then Fred Peters, and then Amir Harris. But Amir may well be able to shake things up and get past the Portuguese driver in the orange number 57 car as we come down the back straight with Moise Mshaffer in the pink number 13 car, just ahead of the orange number 57 of Fred Peters still. We can see the gap between the two diminishing. And let's have a look at the sector times. Fred doing a 299.7, that's 500ths of a second slower, and then gaining about 700ths of a second in the next sector, and then losing about 200 per second in the next sector. And in the fourth sector, you can see he's definitely done something, because the gap between the 2 cars looks to me about 5/10ths of a second as they cross the start finish line. Let's get a quick update. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, 6/10ths of a second between the 2 drivers. So they're very equally matched indeed, but Moise managing to hold on for the moment. Fred lapping about 6/10ths of a second slower than the man in front of him. But, 600 of a second slower than the man in front of him. Moise Mshaffer locked up really badly coming into turn 1 there. That's bad news for Malaysia, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to cost him dearly. He may well have flat spotted his tyres. There was quite a large lockup, and Fred Peters is going to be able to take advantage of that. I'm sure you can see the gap between the 2 cars, definitely less than 6/10ths of a second as they come up into turn 4. Elias Panin just going off screen now. You see, indeed, look at that. It's 2/10ths of a second at most now between the pink and orange cars on screen of Moise Mshaffer and Frederico Peters. Amir Harris also taking advantage of this situation. Let's have a quick replay of the start of the race. See Luke Thompson on the left-hand side in the red number 42, Omar Aswad, who should have started on pole at the back in the red number 27. Amir Harris coming over there to push the orange number 57 out of the way of Frederico Peters, while Moise Mshaffer tries to go around the outside. Luke Allen looks like he might be following suit, but decides to file in behind the blue number 19 of Amir Harris before going 3 wide or even maybe 4 wide almost there through turn 1. Elias Panin is the red car just behind Frederico Peters, gets held up a bit, tries to go around the outside of turn 2, and that would have been fantastic to watch, but there's not quite enough speed difference between these cars to make anything happen there. As we go back to the front of the grid now, though, we've got Moise Mshaffer in the pink number 13 car just ahead of the orange number 57 of Frederico Peters. All 3 cars there going a little bit wide in the exit of turn 11 as they come down through turn 12 and then come into turn 13. 13 and 14 almost 1 corner. In fact, it's hard to make out the difference on the track map. You can see the gap between Fred and Moise is very, very close indeed. Fred may be able to get a good exit and have a look up the inside of turn 15. Moise Mushaffer though knows this track very well indeed, and if there's one man who can defend at turn 15, I'm sure it's probably Moise Mushaffer in his pink number 13, trying to keep the Portuguese rookie behind him. You can see Moise having a quick glance in his mirrors there to see what's going on in the orange car, trying to figure out what the other driver is thinking, if he's going to make a move, but Fred just a little bit too far back to make anything happen at this corner. Though let's have a look at the lap times as they come across the start finish line, and maybe we'll have an update for you to tell you what's going to happen at the end of the race with 6 minutes left on the board. I'm guessing about 30 more laps, so let's have a look at the lap times. We've got a 2:16.5 from Luke, a 2:15.516 from Luca, a 2:17 from Elias, and a 2:17 from Moise, and a 2:17 from Frederico Peters. The difference between Moise and Frederico is 0.08 of a second. Moise the faster driver. The gap on track at the moment 0.5 of a second, as Luke Thompson now leading the race still, but Luke Allen right up behind him. The gap at the start of the lap was 0.9 of a second, but Luke seems to have done something wrong through the first sector, because Luke Allen now right up behind him. Luca going setting the fastest first sector of the race so far, 29.312. That is 0.5 of a second faster than the man in front of him. That's where all the time has gone. You can see the gap diminished significantly, and Luke Allen now within striking distance of his Irish compatriot as they come through turn 8 and 9, 7 and 8 now, and up the straight into turn 9 before they go the uphill 10 and 11. So this is a prime overtaking opportunity. Luca may be a little bit too far back, but he could try something on the braking, but no, he's just a little bit too far back. Luke a little bit squirrely coming into the corner, powering up into turn 10. Fantastic drive from him so far. He's really held on, and he may well be able to claim the lead. I don't give him the commentator's curse, but with only 2 laps left to go, give or take, or 3 laps maybe, and 4 minutes 45 seconds on the board, Luke may well be able to hold on to it. We've seen these two young drivers take each other out before, though. A couple of races ago at turn 6, they collided in a very unfortunate incident, which caused both the DNF. So they'll have to keep that in mind, and well, you always have to keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Racing is a fickle business, and things can go wrong for you, but you've always got to try as well. If you're not going to try, if you're not going to push for first, you know. Back to the on-screen action though. Luke Allen now in the blue number 3, as always, trying to come around the outside of Luke Thompson. Switches back up the inside. Fantastic maneuver there from Luke Allen, the blue number 3, to take first away from Luke Thompson. Coming down the main straight. You can see that's going to be very frustrating for the Irish driver in the red number 52 car, but for his compatriot in the blue number 3, it's exactly what he needed to end this weekend on a high. He's got 3 race wins now, and I'm sure Luke's not going to give it to him easily, but Luke Allen definitely got the better pace, at least last time around, going 7/10 of a second faster than the red number 42 car as we come into lap number 7 in front of the Malaysian flag through turn 3 up into the uphill sector before the hard right-hander of turn 4. We've seen Luke Allen and Luke Thompson make moves here before, but neither driver quite close enough to make anything happen. As Elias Panin holding on to his 3rd position, lapping strongly ahead of Moise Mushaffer, Frederico Peters and Amir Harris. Let's have a look at the battle now between Moise Mushaffer and Frederico Peters, or even let's have a quick retake of the overtake between Luke Thompson and Luke Allen, the blue number 3 on the left-hand side of your screen. Going to switch back up the inside here and undercut Luke Thompson, gets a better exit, and just says thank you very much and walks away with it. Well done there to Luke Allen. Can't fault Luke, just a little bit less experience in the car than Luke Allen. As we come through what seems to be turn 9 now with Luke Allen, the blue number 3 car, in the front once again this weekend. Fantastic weekend for him so far. So on top in free practice, and then second overall in qualifying before managing to take the lead in race 1, securing the second win in race 2, and now it looks like he's got everything sorted out for race 3 as well. Bit of a switch up from the last event where Elias Panin managed to dominate. Now Luke Allen obviously finding position on track as Elias seems to be conserving his tyres. We did see him lock up earlier on. That may have affected him. While Moise Mushaffer, of course, as well, we know had a big lock up at turn 14. You can see the gap between himself and Fred Peters, very small indeed. I saw a little bit of smoke there where Elias Panin was a moment ago, so he may have locked up again at turn 14. As we come down the back straight in what would be, I presume, the entrance to the last lap. You can see Frederico Peters tucking in nicely there behind the pink number 13 car. He's going to follow him every which way he goes. Now he's going to come along the outside at turn 15. He gets a much later braking point, goes all the way around the outside, but Muiz may have a better exit. Federico went the long way around, but seems like he managed to carry more momentum and is now up into P4. Fantastic drive there from the Portuguese rookie in the orange number 57 car, but it's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen, because Maurice Machafra is going to strike back coming down into turn 1. You can see he's coming alongside already. He got the toe, pulled up along the outside of turn 1. He's going to go all the way around the outside at turn 1 and try to dive up the inside of turn 2. Can he maintain enough momentum to make that move? Looks like he's just a little bit too far back, and Amir Harris is going to take advantage of a little bit of a squirrely exit, or mid-corner I should say, that Maurice Machafra had. You can see the gap between himself and his compatriot, very small indeed. But is he able to make a move up into turn 4? Is he going to risk it, or is he going to hold on, secure this position? We'll have to see. But Fred Peters, fantastic drive from him to get up there at turn 15. He did very, very well indeed. As we continue now with Muiz on screen, the pink number 13 now ahead of Amir Harris, the blue number 19, the two Malaysians on track. Of course, fighting for that home victory. Muiz has 2 third places to his name so far, but he's definitely losing out on this one because they're all just a little bit too far back from the front, where Luke Allen, Luke Thompson, and Elias Patten have pulled out a 4-second lead. Coming through turns 7 and 8 now, though, you can see Amir Harris all over the back of the pink number 13 car. That's the blue number 19 at the back of your screens, ladies and gentlemen. You can see him following in the wake of Maurice Machafra. He's going to dive up the outside, I should say. He's going to go all the way around the outside at turn 9. Can he make it happen? Yes, he does, ladies and gentlemen. That's Amir Harris past the pink number 13 of Maurice Machafra. That's a switch in the positions for the Malaysian drivers, and now Amir going to have to hunt down the man in 4th position, Federico Peters. But the gap between the two drivers is almost unsurmountable, with only 4 corners left to go in the last lap of the race. Back to the front now, though. We've got Luke Allen, the blue number 3, just behind him. You can see the red number 42 of Luke Thompson. Let's pay some love to the man who's going to go on to win this race in just a few hundred meters time. Fantastic drive from him. Worked his way up from the back with Elias Patten. Managed to get past the Finnish driver as well, and then hunted down Luke Thompson, closing in about a 3-second gap to eventually find the checkered flag for Ireland. Fantastic drive from him. Luke Thompson coming home in 2nd position, just ahead of Elias Patten. As you can see, crossing the start-finish line now. Federico Peters, perhaps his best result so far, and definitely the best action we've seen him involved in any race. Beautiful to watch.
So obviously everyone's tires were getting old. I think everyone's struggling with a bit of understeer. I managed to understeer as well as I could, and eventually then caught up with Luke, and when he was in the lead, and passed him, and then drove away really, and that was quite a good race, I think.
Muiz just defended for turn 9, so I just went around the outside of him and broke a lot later, and then got the job done for the last lap.
Oh well, yeah, in the first grip was okay. There's grip, it's the highest. But then towards there, maybe I pushed too much early on the lap. So towards there, maybe the temperature is too high, and I destroyed the tire. And yeah, I just really destroyed the race.
Race 3 was good. I started on the front row. I started 2nd, and I had a clean start. I was ahead for about a lap. Then I had some good defending from the guys at the back. I locked my wheels and then couldn't push a lot through the race. But I had an okay lap time, and it was good preparation for race 4.
The start was quite good actually. I managed to get past Amir, but then in the 4th corner, 3 cars got past me, so that was not easy to take. So, and after that, I was just making back positions until I got in a reasonable distance from Muiz, and I had Amir behind me, and we were catching up. In the end, I managed to pass him, and they started fighting, so it was okay for the last lap.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the race. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.